Alright, welcome back to the Illari pylon spot series. Today we'll be looking at Paraiso. We'll be starting with the defense here. For first point, I think it's pretty simple. You can honestly just place your pylon either up here or up here. Reason why you would want to move it back to, let's say, over back here is because if you place it over here, okay, yeah. If you place it a bit higher than that, they'll be able to see it and break it a bit. So you'll need to watch out for if they are pushing up. But also if you place it over there, there are going to be people playing in here probably wanting to back up eventually. And they may have an AoE thing. AoE like Junkrat Pharah or like Sojourn, like Disruption Field, that can just break it. So that's also a reason why you'd want to move it back a bit more. I don't normally play up here with a DPS, or I don't normally place pylon up here with a DPS or whatever. Normally I just, if you are forced a bit back off of high ground, I normally just place it about there, or honestly here. Main reason I don't place it here, even though it does help you retake high ground, is because this is more so their area if you're being forced a bit back. And this has a lot more cover than right there does. Plus, it also gives you support to your high ground right here. If you're poking out here, if a DPS is poking out here, you know, just a lot more uptime and has at least a little bit better coverage. Moving on, placing it back there is a good spot, but it is a bit weak to high ground if they're playing like right here, but they are fully exposed, as you can see. Or if they are fully, if they are fully like here and they can break it, but this also leaves them pretty exposed, unless they have a shield, whatever, to break it freely. But, you know, if they have a shield, you can just keep on moving it backwards. Honestly, this is a really good spot, mainly because even from main, they won't be able to see it, like, at all. Let me go over the spot briefly. Right here, it gives you support all the way up to your core, all the way up to here.
Over here.
And also supports you if you're playing back here or in the small room a bit. Yes, you do need to peek out, but if you're playing in the small room with a tank or, you know, just anybody, you can just, you can just place it in here, unless they, you know, fully enter. Main reason I don't place it like in here is because they can walk in and see that a lot more easily than if you place it over here. Moving a bit further back, placing it right there when you're going for the recontest with your core pushing out of here. This is a fine spot to put it. It gives you your core healing just a little bit more uptime until they fully push out and contest. And it also gives your backline full healing, so you don't have to focus on them. So you are also kept up in case a different support isn't looking at you, while you're able to give support to your main core and damage out there. Other than that, there isn't really a great spot to put it because, I mean, you could throw it down in here, but this is a really, like, not good spot. If someone's playing high ground, they can see it easily, you know. I don't think you'd be fully going through here to recontest anyways because you have high ground in this area right here. So that's just a more wasted time to be in a worse position, in my opinion. But moving on to second point. You could honestly just bunker up on high ground with your DPS or whoever's playing up here, doing a lot of poke. You can honestly just sit up here yourself if you need to. But it is a lot better if you have multiple people with you. Or you could honestly just place it right here a bit and poke out here. But you do need to watch out for if they are pushing you, because even if they get up to like right here, you need to back up. Otherwise, you can just place it here. You and a DPS can just do a lot of annoying them. Backing up more, again, like, here's a really fine spot to put it. Only real weakness of it is if they walk in here and see it. But if they're, you know, walking in, you can back up a bit more. Slap your pylon down around there. It supports high ground. It doesn't support your low ground as much, but it supports your high ground. Even over here, if you want to recontest on the right side over here. But besides that, you know, it's just keep on backing it up so they don't break it. Main reason I didn't go over your core area is because there aren't a whole lot of places to put it without it being broken immediately if you place it for your core. Because if you place it right there, they're going to have this area, they're going to break it. And so you only really have a good place to put it back here, because that is honestly a really good spot. Even though it's a really basic spot, it's a really good spot because it supports your core back here. It supports, you know, over here. It supports if someone's playing right here to contest them walking down this angle. It also supports your high ground right here, where they can poke back a bit and get healing. It supports this high ground right here. It's not flashing, but it's in the radius of it, so they can just poke down here while it's getting constant support. So that's a really good spot. The only real issue that you need to worry about is them walking over here, but besides that, it's a really good angle to put it. Moving it back more, not really a whole great spot to put it unless you're back here. Main reason I don't place it, let's say over here, is because they have a bigger angle. Like, they can break it right here while they're completely covered. And if you move it over here, they won't be able to see it at all. Meanwhile, it supports your core area up to here. And your backline if you're playing over here. Or if you're like bunkered up in here a bit, which you can go to recontest high ground. Otherwise than that, you can honestly place it over here if you need to, if you want to recontest through this area up here. If you in a DPS, or honestly you just want to recontest, you know, if your team's over there, you can support them. If your team's over there, you can support them. And you can also force anybody off high ground if you have another person to support you. Moving it back a bit more, honestly, right here is fine for the recontest. Or, no, right here is better for the recontest because it supports your core area up to right here. And also supports you for wanting to walk out and support your area. It isn't visible at all unless they are fully like over here or over here. But that is also just for the recontest. Otherwise, you can slap it down here. They won't be able to see it at all unless they fully breach this entry area. And this supports your core area up here. And you guys a little bit back here if you do manage to take damage or whatever. Otherwise, on to third point. Again, it's pretty basic. Normally, I don't place it down here because it is very easy for them to push up to here and, you know, break it easily. Plus, I don't see a whole lot of people or your core area that loves to sit down here. That's mainly why I play high ground over here. I mean, you could honestly place it like right here. It supports this entire area. Supports your core if you're playing here. Supports your backline and whoever's playing bridge all the way up to here. So that's honestly a really good place to put it. And the only thing you need to worry about is an AoE thing, breaking it. Besides that, you can move it to over here. Poking out right here is really good, unless they have a movement ability, a vertical movement ability they can't get up to. And if they do, just knock them off. Have a DPS, or honestly, you could play over here by yourself while your pylon supports your bridge area, and it can also support you over here. So that's a really good spot to put it. Only place that you need to worry about is if someone goes under and goes right. Let's say a tracer and can melt you. But if they are, just back up a bit. You are covered from main entirely. So you could play here if you need space from her. Besides that, that's a really good spot to put it at. If you need to back it up a bit more, you know, you could place it about there. That's good. It doesn't have a whole lot of range to heal from, or a whole lot of places that it can heal. But honestly, it's fine if you just need to recontest high ground right there. Otherwise, it's eh. It supports you all the way back here. Honestly, right there might be better because it has a, they'd have a less line of sight of it, so they wouldn't be able to break it. It can support you recontesting here and all the way up to right here. But at that point, why not just slap it down right there? Because that's supporting your core area if you're recontesting here. The only bad thing about it is it won't help you right here if you need help pushing up. Now let's move on to this area. Right here is honestly a... Ooh, excuse me. Okay, that was a bit weird. Right here is honestly a fine area to put it. You know, if you're playing low ground. Low ground is okay to play around here, only if they're on low ground as well. Otherwise, if they're on high ground and you guys are on low ground, that's just, you know, a really bad spot to be in. And if they are on high ground, I'd honestly suggest just backing up to the stairs so you can recontest high ground. Yes, it will give them a little bit of space, but that puts you in an infinitely better position. So right here supports your core area, meanwhile not being seen from main at all unless they have a off DPS or someone playing from this angle, and also isn't as vulnerable because if they do have a DPS, they're going to be looking for your backline or moving over here to look for your backline. Yes, they will be able to see it if they fully go over here, and yes, it will be broken. But besides that, that's honestly a fine position. But if they are pushed up that far, just again, keep moving it backwards. This supports your core area up to here, and also supports a lot of your backline. Like, you could honestly stay right here. It doesn't have great line of sight, but you can also make sure they don't walk in the small rooms at all. While it supports you, or you could walk out wide and have a major line of sight down main, and that still supports you. Moving a bit further back, looking for the recontest here. Honestly, slapping it down right here immediately is honestly fine because it's a recontest for third point. They're about to full cap. Right there is fine, so you don't have to waste as much healing resources as, you know, as you're walking out, as your team is walking out to recontest. Same from here, if someone is playing over here, like a DPS that can get better value killing them than recontesting, like picking off, but they're being damaged. Right there's honestly a good spot to put it. Otherwise, you can put it, you know, here. Has a lot more line of sight down this area, but it doesn't have line of sight to over here where it needs to recontest. Otherwise, if you just poke out, you could just throw it about there. No line of sight, no line of sight. They'll be able to see it, but this has line of sight to your entire core area. And if someone wants to play up here to deny their high ground and deny them, or just do more damage from them, poking out. So, poking out to the low ground, you know, more headshots, stuff like that. So, yeah, that's really about it for third point. I'll see you. All right, now we're on to attack. For first point, again, pretty basic. You're not going to have a whole lot of spots in this area over here, unless you want to place it like right there. That's completely fine too. It doesn't have a whole lot of, you know, uptime, in my opinion, because if you place it up here, they'll be able to see it pretty easily. Yeah. Boom. It does support your core up here, but again, it gets destroyed pretty easily. So that's the only real position up here. Is the only real position where the pylon can be placed without it being broken immediately. And if they just fully stick out like right here, it's still going to get broken. But they are sticking out quite a bit and you're walking up. So yeah, it can get broken. Well, I guess right here is fun. The only main issue that you need to worry about is someone playing over here. Then it will get broken. Otherwise, that's honestly fine. Right here is honestly fine too if you manage to force them a bit back. Or right here is honestly better if you manage to force them a bit back. Unless they are playing this high ground, it won't be able to be fully broken. Honestly, another fun spot to put it is up here. It sort of supports your team. If they are playing bridge, they do need to stay close to the, you know, doorway a bit. But it does support your team while playing bridge. Also supports you by poking at this doorway? Window? I don't know. So that's a really decent spot to put it. Otherwise, you can place it up here if you need to move up a bit more. Main thing you need to worry about is over here. And high ground over here. But if they're high ground, just don't really place it right there. It's more if you are forcing them back to over here and the high ground up here. That's honestly fun. They'll be able to see it a bit though, so they can just run over here and break it. But if you need to move it back a bit more, so it supports your core still. It supports your backline fully here. So you can damage, play cover, damage, play cover. It's just a really good spot to put it. And you can, moving it forward though, really here is a good spot to put it for the, if you're fighting and they're looking for a recontest, because when they walk out here, they're not going to be like, oh, we're going to need to break their pylon immediately. They're going to be like, oh, we need to get them off point. And if they do look up over here, that's a full, at least, second or so when they're not looking at you. So you're going to have a lot more time dealing with them. In the meantime, if they don't deal with this, you know, it can be supporting your team up if you're wanting to force them back. Like, your core's up here, or your backline's over here, or whatever. Forcing them back more. So that's a really good spot to put it. So yeah, that's basically all the spots for first point. Moving on to second point, it's pretty basic. You can honestly just leave it there, or when the gate opens, the gate doesn't open, you can just slap it down right there. It gives support to your core over here, and if you're playing a bit further back, but if you push up, honestly, slapping it down right there is good place to put it, because it gives support to fully up here. If you're dueling with any of the windows, or if someone wants to walk up but they are getting poked out a bit. Meanwhile, it gives support to your core over here, and a little bit to your backline if you're poking out on the off angle over there. Otherwise, just keep moving it up. Give support to your core up here. And if you're playing, you know, at the off angle here or small room at all. Aren't a whole lot unless there are a whole lot of spots unless they push back further back to like right here. But again, they can still see that a bit. But if they can see it, you know, just place it a bit further back. Otherwise, it supports your core over at this area. Meanwhile, it supports your backline a bit more over here. Only main issue from that place is if they are on high ground here. But if they're on high ground, just, you know, don't place it there. Or honestly, yeah, don't place it there. If they are pushed further back though, over here, here is a really good spot to put it. Honestly, well, here's probably better because it has more range. support your backline, support your high ground over there even. Let me show you guys real quick. Support your high ground over here. You see how it flashed? Support your high ground, support your core area, and it supports very slightly to whoever is playing over here if they need to step back for healing a bit. So that's a really good spot to put it. I mean, over here is honestly really decent too, because they aren't going to be seeing it from this angle. They aren't going to be seeing it unless they fully breach out, or unless they fully come out here and step down. But, you know, that's less likely, even though it can happen. Yes, it can happen. Now, if you're about to full cap, honestly just throw it anywhere over here. Main reason I place it a bit closer to that side is because if they walk out, they won't be able to see it fully unless they fully step out, like about right here. And if they do see it, you know, you're basically going to be full capping. Yes, they will be able to look at it easily. Like, if they are damaging you, oh, look, we can just break it and then go back. But that does take, like, you know, a second away from them looking at you, stuff like that. Or you could just place it, honestly, right about there. It supports your core up. Has no line of sight weakness at all. Even from main, they can't see it at all unless they walk right side and go here. But this is your area at this point. This supports your core area. It supports them, you know, by healing them. Duh. What am I talking about? And they will not be able to look at it easily at all. So, really, yeah, that's about it for second point. Alright, moving on to third point. Third point's pretty basic. It's really centered around high ground and such. Honestly, though, right there is a good spot to put it for, you know, first pylon spot for third. Because it supports over here, all the way over here. Even though you can move it over there if you need more support in this area. Meanwhile, it still supports to whoever's pushing payload or whatever. Moving on, you can place it honestly right about there. Only main issue that you need to worry about is all the way over here and over here. But that pylon support or provides support all the way up here. As you can see, it's flashing. And it supports our core area, wherever. I was gonna say it supports up there, but it really doesn't. So it just supports your core and your right side over here. Otherwise, if you need to move it up to wherever you're playing, you can honestly move it up to right here. Support your backline over here. And support your core if they are standing right here. It doesn't really support it if they walk out over here. But otherwise, you can slap it right there. That's honestly a better spot to put it, actually. That I think about it. Only main issue is it is pretty visible from decently far back. And from this angle over here. Besides that, you know, if they are over here, your core's right here. You can just walk on them and pick them out easily. Otherwise than that. Or otherwise, if you're playing low ground, if your core's placed in low ground, you can honestly place it right there. It's really not vulnerable from any angle while it supports your core up here. And if someone's playing in here, it supports them, like, if they do take damage, step out for a second, you know, get fully healed. In your backline over here. But you should be pretty stacked up on this corner because it gives you a lot more cover. If they are forced back a bit more, and they aren't on high ground, right here is honestly a perfectly good spot to put it. Unless, you know, only angle that you need to worry about is from right here. Then they can break it. But if they're not over there, you know, they're forced back over here. And even over here, that's a good spot to put it because it provides support to your core area, as you can see over here. And provides support if anyone is playing the bridge area on high ground. And they can, you know, contest if they are trying to recontest high ground. You know, pretty simple stuff in your core area. It just provides a lot of line of sight healing. No, other than that, it's kind of a, you know, fighting for full cap pylon spot. Honestly, right there is a pretty decent spot to put it, because I know a lot of people are going to walk out here. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, something's right below me right off the bat. So they're going to drop, look to recontest, you know, giving you off point. They're not going to fully look back and break it. So it's just going to be constant uptime, which is good. Or if they do fully look back, that gives you a lot more time to pick them out, because that's a full 180. I know my sensitivity isn't that high. I know. Ship turning speed. Honestly, right here. No. But, yeah. Honestly, even if they are quick, it is like another second or so that you get to poke them out. Or, not poke them out, pick them. Yes, it is a bit weak from this angle, but it's honestly a 50-50 because you could place it over here. But it's also, you know, they could break that a bit more easily. And if they do drop down here and, you know, look for recontest, it is a lot more visible than placing it right here. So, yeah, that's basically full third point. And that's just the entirety of Paraiso. I apologize for the many cuts that are going to be in this video. I just have felt so out of breath and honestly lightheaded throughout making this, but thank you guys for understanding, and really, that's about it. See ya.